Hey, my name is Jason Stryker. I'm the Community of Practice lead for Kubernetes at Capital One, and I work on cloud platforms. Today, I want to talk to you about how we built a thriving Kubernetes community at a large enterprise. But to do that, we need to talk about silos. So silos, they have a bad connotation, but they're not inherently bad things. They actually are a pretty natural phenomenon that emerge due to the incentives and structures that you find in a large organization. However, you're going to find that large domain problems are going to need to cross the boundaries of silos, right? You have multiple interconnected subsystems, interconnected teams that you're going to need to have work together, much like Kubernetes itself is structured with its operators and controllers. But these silos, they solve natural scaling problems. They allow a single team or a single software component to focus on its local intent and without becoming overwhelmed by the larger complexities of the system. So, like many things in life, we want to find a balance here, something that helps preserve the autonomy and focus that these silos provide, while also mitigating some of the downsides, which you can do with a tactical application of community, allowing us to focus on aligning for global optimization rather than what's best for one component or one team. And you don't need a huge cultural shift to do this. What you need to do is find a recurring problem, bring people together, and solve it. Delivering value is going to build trust, and that trust is going to enable you to tackle even bigger and bigger problems. That momentum is going to build on itself, and you don't need to invent a new model to do this. You can actually learn a lot from open source. Open source has been solving these problems for decades, allowing different communities to collaborate and build software together. The CNCF actually has some really great examples of open source projects that apply some of these principles. Kubernetes has a great setup with its special interest groups and its working groups, allowing a very complex system to coordinate with each other. So you can take a lot of examples from that. That's what we did at Capital One, right? We found an internal platform that we had originally, a forum for shared discussions called the Community of Practice, and we started to layer in some of these open source principles on top of that. Helping bring in some of these SIGs. These SIGs allowed us to organize around these domain problems that need to cross these silos and bring various people together to help solve them. These scoped groups had a clear intent, a clear charter, and they were set up with a bias for action. We really want to drive deliverables out of these groups. So as you're doing this, though, you want to remember that this is a voluntary effort. This is something where you need to recognize the people who are taking the time to be involved in your community and use it as an opportunity to elevate others. Additionally, this work, it can't be seen as side of desk or extra work. We need to tie this into performance management and align with managers and show them that the involvement in this community is going to help drive business objectives as well. That's going to legitimize the effort that people are spending in your community. So real quick, I just want to share some things that worked for us, some things that didn't. So the first up is making sure that this is a bottom-up initiative, right? Make sure we're organizing around things that actually derive value for the community instead of coming from a top-down mandate. So if this is perceived as the extension of a single team's intent, that's going to trigger defensive instincts, and it's going to reinforce those silos. You want this to be a genuine community effort where glory is shared amongst everyone who's involved. So as you're doing that, federate your leadership. These SIGs, these working groups, the leads for these sessions, they shouldn't come from a single centralized team. They should come from different functions. Allow them to step up and bring their diverse perspectives to leading these groups and to help establish buy-in from these various functions. And as you're doing this, make sure that the scope of work is clear. Respect people's time and be willing to shut down efforts that are not providing value. That can be really difficult sometimes. So as you're doing that, I could just repeat, but really take the time to align with the people managers, show them that there is value being derived here. They are going to be important advocates as you start to build your community because people get lost in the boundaries of work that they're currently doing. They want this to become a part of that work and show that it's driving value for their teams. But don't treat this like it's its own team or its own intent, right? You're not their manager. You're not their people lead. You actually have to sell them on the value of these contributions. And just most importantly, celebrate these achievements. Find tangible artifacts that people have delivered and put those front and center. That's going to help you establish trust and build that community that you're looking to do here. So to wrap up, you absolutely can bring open source principles to a large enterprise. As you're doing that, make sure you're telling a good story and embracing and complementing these silos instead of trying to resist a natural phenomenon. That's all I have. If you have any questions, please reach out. Thank you for your time.